Before this day ends, before July 5 disappears into history, I want to ask you something that might sting, but it's the truth you need to hear. What have you done today that scares your comfort zone? What have you done that challenges your old self? If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, let me break it to you. Life isn't giving you any more signs. This is the sign. You are not late, but you are lingering. And if you don't move now, you'll keep blaming time while time moves on without you. So before July 5 ends, I dare you to stop scrolling and start evolving. This isn't just another day. It's your reset button. Let's make it count. Underscore, you keep saying, I have so much potential. But what has that potential done for you lately? Has it paid your bills? Has it built your dream? Has it made them respect you? No, because potential without discipline is just a pretty lie you keep telling yourself. We live in a world where people romanticize what could be so much. They forget to become what must be. You keep journaling, planning, dreaming, vision boarding, and yet, day after day, your reality remains unchanged. Why? Because action is louder than ambition. You can't manifest a life you're not willing to work for. Let's make it plain. A girl sits every night thinking, I could be a singer. She records voice notes, but never posts them. She's afraid of judgment, afraid she's not ready, afraid she's not perfect. So what happens? Someone else with half her talent and triple her courage goes viral. Because results don't come to the most talented. They come to the most consistent. You could be the next CEO, the next author, the next motivational voice. But you're so attached to the idea of success, you haven't tasted the discipline it demands. You're in love with potential because it doesn't require pain. It lets you sleep peacefully knowing you could have, should have, might have. But what does that leave you with? Regret in a luxury outfit. Take the example of a woman who says, I know I can get fit. I used to be athletic. But she keeps postponing the gym, keeps ordering takeout, keeps comparing herself to Instagram bodies. Potential becomes her prison. Because every time she fails to act, she confirms the lie that she's not capable, when in fact she's just not committed. A student says, I'm smart, I always get things last minute. So they wait and wait until the deadline crashes down on them like thunder. Suddenly their potential is now a panic attack, a missed opportunity, a GPA drop. Potential becomes the excuse, not the energy. A woman in love says, he has potential. He could be so much more. But months pass. He lies. He cheats. He disappoints. She holds on to the version of him that exists only in her head. That's the trap. Loving potential instead of facing reality. You don't need to fall in love with what could be. You need to build a life on what is. Let's flip the script. Imagine if Serena Williams only admired her natural talent, but never showed up to the studio. Imagine if Priyanka Chopra just admired herself in the mirror instead of conquering global stages. Where would they be? Not on top, not respected, not remembered. Potential is only sexy when it's backed by performance. You want people to notice you? Give them results they can't ignore. Start small, one task, one win, one bold decision, and then another. Your potential is not some magical thing waiting to be discovered. It's a muscle, and if you don't use it, you'll lose it. You've spent enough time fantasizing about the future. Now it's time to build it. Because the truth is, your results are your loudest statement. Not your excuses, not your tears, not your pretty promises. So today, don't just say you're capable, prove it. Don't just believe in your potential, demand results from it. If it still hurts, you're still holding on. Not to them, not to the moment, but to the meaning you gave it. See, pain doesn't stay because it's powerful. It stays because we feed it. Every time you replay that betrayal, that breakup, that harsh word, they're not hurting you anymore. You're hurting you by keeping it alive in your mind. Think about this. Deep inside, she knows she's holding on to someone who's already let go. The pain isn't just his absence. It's her refusal to accept that someone she prioritized didn't value her. She's not mourning the man. She's mourning the version of him she created in her mind. A mother watches her grown daughter drift away. Calls unanswered. Messages ignored. But she keeps saying, she's just busy. She'll come around. And every time she says that, her heart aches. She smiles through the pain, but deep inside, she's holding on to how things used to be. And that's the thing. Memories can chain you harder than the moment ever did. The hurt stays because you're still hoping for a different ending to a story that already closed. A young man gets fired from a job he gave his all to. He wakes up every morning angry, hurt, bitter. Not because the job was perfect, but because he gave loyalty where it wasn't returned. He's not just unemployed, he's emotionally unemployed too. He's holding on to the idea that hard work always pays off. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes life will break you just to rebuild you better. But not if you keep clinging to the rubble. A woman stands in front of the mirror, looking at stretch marks, wrinkles, acne scars. She remembers what she looked like 10 years ago and whispers, I miss her. Every lotion, every filter, every beauty trend, she's chasing her younger self. The pain isn't in her skin, it's in her comparison. She's holding on to a version of beauty the world sold her, forgetting that growth changes everything, even your reflection. And if you don't release who you were, you'll never embrace who you've become. There's a man who was cheated on years ago. He dates, he smiles, he says he's over it. But every time his partner's phone buzzes, he flinches. Every time she takes too long to reply, he spirals. Not because she's done anything wrong, but because he never really let go of the betrayal. He's not in a relationship. His fear is. And until he stops dragging the old pain into the new space, he'll never taste the peace that love can bring. A girl posts a selfie hoping for validation. She gets 10 likes. Another girl posts the same thing, gets 10,000. That comparison stings. Not because she's any less, but because she's holding on to this lie that more likes means more worth. The pain of invisibility, the ache of being overlooked, that comes from attaching your identity to numbers, not values. She's hurting because she's measuring herself by standards that were never meant to define her in the first place. If it still hurts, it's not about the moment. It's about the meaning you attach to it. You're holding on to a version of reality that's expired. You're loving people who've stopped loving you. You're chasing dreams that don't even fit who you are anymore. The pain is the echo, the silence after the storm. But the longer you stand there, waiting for the noise to return, the more deafening it gets inside your soul. You think you've moved on because you don't cry. But baby, silence doesn't always mean healing. Sometimes it means you're screaming internally while the world assumes you're fine. Stop begging for closure, give it to yourself. Because the truth is, Some people will never apologize. Some will never explain why they hurt you, why they disappeared, or why they changed. And the longer you wait for them to give you answers, the longer you stay stuck in a story that's already over. Closure isn't a conversation. It's a decision. It's when you say, I don't need your words to free myself. I'll free myself anyway. Imagine a woman who gave her all to a relationship. She was loyal, present, honest. One day, the man simply walked away. No explanation, no goodbye, just silence. Days turn into weeks, and she's checking her phone every morning, praying for a message that says, I'm sorry, here's why I left. But it never comes. And the pain grows, not because he left, but because she gave him the power to decide when her healing begins. She's begging the same person who broke her to come fix her. But the truth is, he's already moved on. The only one still bleeding is her. Closure isn't what they give you. It's what you claim when you finally close the door they left open. A man gets ghosted after a promising job interview. He did everything right. Polished resume, confident pitch. He walked out of that room thinking, this is it, but no call came. No rejection letter. Just silence. And it stung. He kept replaying the interview in his head, dissecting every word, wondering what he did wrong. That emotional paralysis lasted for weeks. But what he didn't realize is that he wasn't grieving the job. He was grieving the lack of acknowledgement. He wanted them to tell him he mattered, that he was almost enough. But why should your worth be confirmed by strangers in suits who couldn't even show you the respect of a response? There's a daughter whose father walked out when she was a child. She grew up wondering, was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Years pass, but the questions remain. She writes letters she never sends. She practices conversations that never happen. She tells herself one day he'll come back and explain. But he doesn't. And the ache turns into anger, and the anger turns into self-doubt. But the day she stops waiting for a man who chose absence over presence is the day she begins to build herself. Not because he gave her peace, but because she decided she was done being defined by someone else's cowardice. A woman gets betrayed by her best friend. A secret shared, a trust broken. And the friend pretends like nothing happened. No apology, no regret, just distance. And it burns. Not just the act, but the denial of it. She wants a confrontation. She wants them to acknowledge the betrayal. But instead she's handed silence. That's when she realizes, I don't need your guilt to validate my pain. I don't need your words to confirm what I already know. The friendship ended the moment the betrayal happened. Now it's up to her to end the emotional attachment to someone who already detached. Think of a woman scrolling through old messages, photos, songs that remind her of someone who left. She keeps looking for signs, keeps trying to read between the lines. She's not healing. She's haunting herself with memories. She wants one last conversation to make it all make sense. But closure isn't in the answers. It's in accepting that sometimes you won't get any. It's choosing your peace over your curiosity. Even in death, closure is complicated. A loved one passes, and you never said goodbye. You never got to fix things. Never got to hear, I love you one last time. And that grief feels unfinished, like an open loop you can't close. But you don't have to wait for the moment that never came. You can choose to honor them by living well. You can let your love be louder than your regrets. Because sometimes closure isn't a door that shuts. It's a window you open to let the pain breathe and finally leave the room. your dreams are loud? Why are you whispering? Why are you tiptoeing around your own greatness like it's something to be ashamed of? You weren't born to dim down, shrink, or wait for permission.